Welcome to Packet Pilots. In today's session, we will show you how to configure ISIS on Juniper Junos devices. As per lab diagram, we have two routers connected directly with two point-to-point links. Behind each router is a test PC. We will try to establish IP reachability between the two test PCs. As per current output, there are no ISIS routes or routability between the routers for these test networks. Also in the output, we confirm the current point-to-point connections. Now we will confirm that there are no ISIS adjacencies. Now we will configure ISIS. Go to Edit Protocols ISIS. Under ISIS, specify the interfaces which will participate in ISIS. Using the command show ISIS interface will show you which interfaces have been enabled for ISIS. Take note, configuring the interfaces under Protocols ISIS does not enable the interface for ISIS. You will need to enable this family under the participating interfaces as well. Running the show ISIS interface command again, it will now show the interface enabled for ISIS. Also, a mandatory step is to configure a unique ISO address under the loopback interface of each router. Take note, the ISO address requires a unique system ID per router. In this example, we have used the router ID or loopback ID as guide to build the unique system ID. At this point, we have configured the protocol ISIS with the needed interfaces. We have enabled the required family ISO under the participating interfaces, and we have configured the ISO address under the loopback interface. This should be the absolute minimum required configuration to form ISIS adjacencies over the point-to-point router links. Let's see what happens on the PCAP file. Here we can see hello being sent over the links from router 1 only. Let's get it working on router 2 as well. We can now see some hello sent from both routers over the links. Let's wait and see if ISIS adjacencies are coming up. ISIS is up now on all configured interfaces. Now with ISIS up, it is time to see how we can enable routing between the two test PCs. We will take a shortcut and just add the test PC's directly connected interface in ISIS. This is not standard or best practice, but we are just showing this is possible for specific use cases. Take note to add these interfaces in passive mode. On commit you will see that the ping between the test PCs are now working. This is because the interface and the network of this interfaces is now part of the ISIS routing database and therefore will be routable. We will remove these interfaces again from the protocol ISIS and configure the best practice method. We will configure a routing policy and call it Export ISIS. We will create a first matching term one. Here we will match on route protocol direct and accept this. Then we add another term 2 to reject all else. Essentially what this policy will do is match on all direct routes in the default INET0 table and export or add them in the ISIS database. These routes will then be advertised to other ISIS nodes as external ISIS routes. Let's now add this policy under ISIS as an export policy. As per output under router 1, we can see that the route is now active towards router 2 over any of the links. We can see according to the route output, the active next hop is port GE0 indicated by the arrow. Also take note of the route's preference of value 160. This indicates an external type route. We have done a quick rollback to the first method to show you how the route will be learned when it was configured as passive. Here you can see the route protocol preference value of 15. As best practice, we will configure the router ID. Also a unique value required on each router. This will enable us to hard-code the router ID instead of the router's automated selection process, which can cause some issues or complicate future troubleshooting for many protocols. In this session, we showed you how to configure ISIS and export other routes into the ISIS database to enable routability between certain networks. In more videos to come, we will show a bit more advanced configurations and the various level 1 and 2 configurations. We hope you learned something today. Cheers!